Welcome back to the Foscottweman Report. We have the foe, the Scott, Silent We, who's being taken by Colin here. I don't know how much he'll talk this episode. And the man. You may have noticed, I am the only original member of the Foscottweman Report in the room at the moment. That's because every other member is off doing something. The foe, well, he left. I don't remember why he left, but he left. The Scott is off doing, I believe, OCC, so he is singing at the moment. The We has baseball practice. And other honorary members like the Young, well, he's not here either. So I just have the S, as I will call him. He'll be here to be extra background filler because, I feel like everything's just gonna be carried by me today. So this topic that I'm bringing up today is something I've wanted to do for a while because I have my own YouTube channel, Drango Feet, but I don't post anymore. And I've been thinking about making the Batman not album review. Why would I say that? Movie review because I saw it. I'm going to see it again this weekend, and I think I have opinions on it. I have opinion. Have you seen the Batman?
I have not.
Oh,
It's gonna be pretty.
if you care about spoilers, leave the room. Okay, he does not care about spoilers. Good. So I don't really know where to start off with this. I'm immediately gonna give out my final verdict, like my final score. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 the first time I saw it. I don't know if that will go down or up, mainly just because I think why I rated it so highly when I first saw it was because I was so hyped for this movie, and the fact that it wasn't garbage, I think like really elevated where my opinion would go. So I don't know if a second viewing will bring it down a little bit. I'm still expecting it to be high, somewhere like high 8, or even stay at a 9.5. I don't really know, but basically my opinion is extremely positive. I firmly believe that this is the second best Batman movie out of the wide array of films that have been done on the character. Of course, I've mentioned multiple times on the podcast, The Dark Knight is my favorite made. So there ain't no way that movie is not even the best Batman movie, in my opinion. It is the best, bar none. But The Batman, I think, comes pretty close to a real definitive take on the character. I'm going to start with the acting in the movie. I think nearly everyone is stellar in the movie. Robert Pattinson, people gave him a lot of crap when he was casted as Batman simply because he's the Twilight guy. He is the best on screen version of Batman. Not Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne's in the movie for like 20 minutes. Batman himself is fantastic in it. I think what made the character so good in a lot of the comics that I enjoy and the Arkham video games is kind of put into this film. He's also a Batman who makes mistakes, so it's nice to see that kind of humanity there. I think Robert Pattinson does that pretty well. His Batman voice also on par. Like you don't need to do what Christian Bale did and make your voice all weird. You just gotta lower it. You just gotta put it down to a different octave and be kind of gravelly. And I think he pulled that off pretty well. Suit also, I love the suit. The only thing I don't really like is the symbol, but the rest of the suit I think is really good. I think perfect for a super young version of Batman. I don't like how it looks super leathery though. That's a little odd, but I still think it's pretty good. The only actor in this movie I don't think whose performance was tippity top was probably Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. Now I'm not saying she's bad because I know a ton of people, Ben Shapiro, um, did not like her in the movie. I thought she was fine. I definitely thought she's the best on-screen interpretation of Catwoman because she's already been done 2 times before. And she's a character I have a love-hate relationship with. It's a character who I think is good at times, but also really bad because sometimes people don't know what to do with her. End up doing the same thing over and over. So it's nice to see they try taking some risks with the character in this. I just haven't been impressed by Zoe Kravitz overall as an actress in a lot of the movies I've seen her in. Granted, it's not been a lot of movies, but sometimes I do think she comes off as a bit flat or just not as extravagant as the other actors in the film. Like I said, she's not bad. Everyone in this movie does really good. She's probably my least favorite performance in the movie. So, Andy Serkis as Alfred, he was pretty good in the short amount of time he got because spoilers, Wayne Tower gets blown up at one point in the movie, and Alfred's caught in the crossfire. He doesn't die. I honestly thought he'd die, but they faked me out. He was pretty good in the short amount of time that he got. He's definitely not my pick to play Alfred, though. I didn't see him as an Alfred. I saw him more as like a couple different Batman villains, but he did pretty well. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon was fantastic. I didn't know much about Jeffrey Wright before the movie. I saw a few episodes of Westworld after that because I know that. And I gotta say, he's a really good actor. Not my first thought when it comes to the character of Jim Gordon, but I still think he did a pretty fantastic job. I think he nailed how the fact that Jim Gordon's really the only good cop in. So I think that was Paul Dano as the Riddler was fantastic. I think easily puts him into one of the best live action performances, let alone like villain. Of course, like someone like Heath Ledger's Joker is still probably the best, but Paul Dano's Riddler, similar to Heath Ledger's Joker, he does something different here where he kind of takes the core concepts of the character, turns them and makes them more twisted. He's not supposed to just be that really crazy, extravagant serial killer who leaves riddles. Here he's very dark, he's very gritty, and he knows the modern world well. He uses social media to play out his game. Something I feel like even comic books aren't taking. And I think it's good that the movie took care of that. Also, his costume, I feel like for this version of the Riddler, it makes so much sense for him to just be dressed in stuff you can buy at the store. Like one thing that
Holy schmolies, what are we doing in here, fellas?
well, we had to leave the room. I was giving my Batman review because I'm the only.
Well, I'm glad to come here and not have you talk about that because I'm gonna see that soon.
Yeah, I was just talking about like the performances. So yeah.
Welcome back to the Foscottweman Report, where today we have we have the Scott, which is yours truly. We have the silent we. Very extra silent today. Oh, the silent we. That is now Colin. And then the man.
I am the man.
So today we're talking, I guess, about the Batman. I heard was really good.
Yeah, 9.5 upon first viewing. Again this weekend, on Saturday. I don't know if my opinion will go down or up. I still think it's film. My first. So I guess I'll leave spoiler talk out of this. Expose anything in the movie. But yeah, the Riddler. He was fantastic. I loved the grounded approach to him. He's a villain I think we shat on. So
Maybe.
but
That'll be up to me.
he was really good. I will say the look of the movie. It is super dark, which down, but it works for this version. Batman is gotten at least to where the point,
Really?
at least to the point where he's not killing. Like there is one scene in the movie trailer by the way, where like he goes ape, like he goes crazy, and like it shows that this version of Batman is unhinged. The movie kind of plays with the idea that Bruce, like Batman, might be like personality.
So are you kind? So is it kind of like question?
I wouldn't go that far. I would just say a lot darker than no question in the movie. I feel like there is one big thing. My big thing. Bane, alter ego, or he's Batman.
Kind of like Spider-Man Peter Parker.
Yeah. You go over there. But yeah, like I really did like the approach they took. Bruce Wayne's only in the movie for like.
Really?
Yeah, he's barely in the movie.
What they do to make him think about a mental illness? What they do to like make Batman so bad?
So even Robert Pattinson, the actor who played this movie,
Twilight guy.
Yeah, Twilight. He literally said that when he was researching ways to make this character, he said the idea I had was that I with like personalities.
Gotcha.
So that's the approach. Plus, he's also a very young version of.
How young are we talking? Like
This is the second year of being.
like
literally the opening line for him. Opening thing says is,
I'm 12.
No. like October 31st, blah blah blah, and then like notebook that he's writing in Gotham second year.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he's supposed. What we're supposed to be guessing, he's in mid to late.
So with this Batman, I think the only bad thing about this movie, that at least hearing from it from someone who hasn't seen it, is that it's 3 hours long. Am I correct?
It's 2 hours and 56 credits. Not as that bad. Like the Dark Knight, I really not that much. People complain. I will say, this is the longest, and it's probably like I'm like, dang, they left me one, which is very good.
Are they planning on making a second The Batman?
There's supposed to be a trilogy. Ooh. So the second one, I believe, is already being.
Which villain do you think?
Okay, so there's multiple fan theories. Fan theory would possibly spoil the end of the.
Gotcha.
That's the theory involving how the ties in. So I'll go with a villain who I predicted not tie in. Black Mask. Now,
remind me who the Black Mask.
The Black Mask is he's a highly underrated. Only showed up in one film, magical film, Birds of Prey. Not even a Batman. So he's a big crime boss. Probably the most ruthless crime boss Gotham has ever. It's suggested that he has apathy. Where's this black skull mask? Comics, it gets burned onto his face. But I like going to like the thing like once he puts it on, he really.
And with it being burned on his face, he just
like he literally is. But the Batman has such an emphasis on mob culture. Carmine Falcone, they call him Falcone.
Okay.
He is the main crime boss in Gotham. He's the secondary antagonist of the movie. So it makes sense if like more crime bosses are. Penguin is in.
Oh, he is?
And it's suggested he'll have a way bigger role. I think it's on TV. Suggested that the Penguin.
Fun.
So it would make sense if we get like another crime boss villain. But it would also probably come with another crime boss.
Yeah.
So
what are the chances of Scarecrow?
That is a villain I.
Gotcha.
The universe is hyper realistic.
Oh, really?
Any other version. Yeah, that's why like they're going. Serial.
Gotcha. So Joker's a really high thought, maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna say this right now because this Joker is in the movie.
Oh, he is.
He is. Now, it's stupid.
It's really bad. Is it bad?
It's not bad. The dude who played him, I'm pretty sure he did a really good job. I've only seen him in one movie. Irish actor. He's super young.
Really?
So he's the youngest guy to ever play in a live action movie. He did really good. Like his Joker laugh is super good. He has a higher pitch. So Joker voice.
Does he sound Irish?
No, he uses it.
Oh, good. Thank God.
So look at this Joker. He's burned stuff. This looks like a dude. And he only shows up in one scene.
So you think he's going to probably come back in the next?
Well, yeah, because there's also a comes to the like, hey, they cut that scene good because I don't even think Joker should. We've gotten so many versions of. I don't. I we're getting another one. Like I said, he did fine. I definitely liked. I don't think they should go further with Joker as a secondary villain. What I heard, they don't plan on making point good. Keep him as a background. As much as y'all love the Joker, spending way too many.
Right.
So
back up. Oops.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't like fully see his face at all, even in the movie. But really good design. I do think that's a very franchise, I think that would only work if there's like 4 or 5 movies. Court of Owls is the biggest syndicate Batman. Literally, underground organization of Gotham's wealthiest murder people if they don't follow their agenda. And there's multiple characters. Robin is Owls. You would have to introduce Robin. You have to introduce so many characters to do this, not play out.
Yeah.
That would be so difficult. Not even.
Oh.
Hush is the villain I know a lot of people want.
Hush?
Hush is a villain where a little overrated in my movie. Mystery aspect.
Gotcha.
He's Bruce Wayne's childhood friend who tried to murder his parents. Dad, who was a surgeon, hated them. So he grew up like resenting. He's also wealthy.
Gotcha.
And so he grows up to become a very good surgeon, and then he starts murdering them. Molds like a sculpt of wrapped in bandage. He's an all right character concept. Problem is, figure out who he is really early on.
Oh, does it?
I just don't think. Cool if it's like you have to like different version. I don't want to see Hush in a movie.
How did they do the penguin? Like, so you know, the Telltale Penguin, the first from first one.
Close.
Oh, really?
I would love a film version of that where like he's super young. Not fat.
He used to be like friends with Bruce for a while, and then kind of like goes off hinge.
He's a fighter and stuff. Like he can beat, like obviously without weapons, but he's able to beat. That's a version of Penguin I would love to see. I do my own
fan castings. Oh, okay.
Batman one. Actor I cast for Penguin, he's Colin's. I took my main inspiration for my version of Penguin from the.
Gotcha.
I love that version.
Oh yeah, it was good. I loved it.
So different. This version of Penguin way more classic. A lot more.
Is he still his dwarf chubby self?
No, he's not. He's just.
Oh.
But.
Damn it.
The prosthetics on it are fantastic.
Prosthetics? Oh.
So look up the actor Colin Farrell. That's the actor who's the Penguin. Look up what the Penguin. They do not look like. They don't even sound like.
Oh wow, that?
Yeah, that's the guy who plays.
Okay. Look this up at home, people.
Yeah, look this up.
Colin Farrell and then Payne the Batman.
Like,
whoa.
It doesn't even look like the same dude.
Yeah, they literally put an up close of the two actors.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me find a good one. Like that? Yeah, that's nuts. Hold on, people. People who don't have phones.
Yeah, and what? Like the Penguin's not a big player in the movie. Not like he's a side villain. Like he's literally Carmine Falcone's like right hand. It's pretty interesting. Penguin's not the.
Remind me who Falcone is.
He's the big crime boss.
Oh.
He's the secondary villain.
Gotcha.
And Penguin is just, which I think is pretty interesting. Like obviously they're setting him.
Yeah.
But
he did look a bit like Kingpin from the Daredevil series a little bit. You know, just more fat.
Yeah.
And not bald. But like, yeah, it gives me that sort of vibe. Dude, if they put Kingpin in a Batman movie, dude, that'd be crazy. A Marvel DC crossover with Kingpin. Never will happen, but just the idea.
Now, one villain nobody talks about.
Is this the one that, like you say, like is on very under?
Well, he's one of. Mind you, he cannot be in the. Mm-hmm. His shtick does not make him have to be a side villain. Works for Firefly. Serial arsonist. Like, dude, I just love. Burns himself by accident. Body's covered. He loves burning. He's been in a movie.
Well, yeah, not a live action.
But he's been in like I'm talking about like live action.
Gotcha.
I don't know why I love Firefly as much as I want to see him in a movie. No, he probably won't. If he does, that'd be pretty. There's some talks that two, but they didn't set up Harvey Dent in the movie.
No.
Which I think, like
And if they do Harley Dent, the second one, it'd be kind of
like
late.
my one problem with the Dark Knight, Two-Face should have been set up in the first. Like Harvey Dent shows up, second movie he becomes. You have a little bit more of an attachment.
Yeah.
And you understand.
And not many people nowadays would know Harvey Dent is Two-Face. I feel like, at least. I mean, like, a lot of people watching it would know, like, oh, Two-Face is going to be in the next movie, but, like...
I just feel like it also worked like marketing. There's one part of the marketing one fell for. Not happy. They pull, well, spoil what it is. Because it was a big part of the.
Spoilers incoming.
Yeah.
Tell me.
So in the trailer, Riddler says, I know you are Bruce Wayne. Turns out, Riddler never knew he was Batman. It was just a coincidence. So he's like, Bruce Wayne, and you are a lot like him, Batman. Riddler never knew it was Bruce Wayne. So they pulled an old bait and switch on us and made us think that Riddler found out. I thought that'd be an interesting route to go.
I would.
Because they do tease a lot in the movie that Riddler found out that Batman. You know? So I guess it's kind of funny, because it kind of shows off the character flaw of Riddler. So he is egotistical and he kind of missed. But yeah, that's the main. But villain that people are predicting for the work. There's a mock-up poster for the second movie where it's just like the first one where it's like Batman walking in color. This movie,
yeah,
but it's like a light. It looks. Really hope this villain that people is going to be the villain.
Who would that be?
Mr. Freeze.
If they did,
Now,
if they do like the tragic, what is it like his husband, his wife. His
wife comes down with a rare condition, dying, so
yes,
to find a cure. That happens to him. I know it wouldn't work in a super hyper realistic world. I still feel like they'd find a way to pull. Like same thing with Scarecrow though. I do feel like they could find a way to make. Because I do want to
definitely.
Scarecrow's my second favorite.
He's my favorite.
Like right behind Joker. Right behind Joker.
I gotcha.
It would work really well. It's just how are they going to fit this toxin? Like, how are they going to make it? Come.
Yeah.
Because the Riddler can be a very realistic.
Oh yeah,
He's
definitely.
just a dude who kills people and leaves behind. Like the Zodiac. So like, what else would you like? Like that's why people are trying to focus. Like villains. I'd be fine with it, but I'm also not.
Do you think Bane will ever be in it?
I would love to see Bane in it, but I don't. Plus, Bane was done really well. Now, granted, I think if they do Owls, Bane could fit. I think we could tweak Bane origin story for like he's a part of it, or like because they have their assassins, talents. Bane's one of them.
Dude, they have to sign you up for this stuff, man.
Well, trust me. Do you want to talk about that?
That's gonna be next time on the Foscottweman Report.
It is a trilogy of movies. My timeline, Bane, Court of Owls are like ads.
Gotcha.
But no, the Batman, good movie. I'm gonna see it again.
So what was that? What was that being? You said 9.5 out of 10. Why 9.5?
Because there's some writing choices elevated. Mind you, I said superhero movies. When I rate movies, I rate them on the basis of what their genre in superhero movies. They're at the highest standard. Like the MCU is the biggest film universe of all time. Money.
Yeah.
You rarely see a Marvel movie nowadays. But
Yeah, that did you watch that?
I did not. I heard it was boring, so plus I think a lot of MCU movies.
I just thought it was super stupid how they were like, "Oh yeah, we're unbelievably strong, but we didn't help during Endgame."
Yeah.
And then like obviously there was going to be an explanation to it, but I felt like it was going to be.
And
However, that huge statue thing with like the six eyes, that looked cool.
yeah, well, Marvel movies always look cool. Always have good cinematography. Guys always. This last Marvel movie I saw was Black. That movie sucked.
The Black Widow movie.
Oh my! One of the worst for MCU. It's probably the second worst, just above Thor: The Dark World. Thor: The Dark World was boring. Black Widow is just. It wasn't set after a civil war. Black Widow's already dead. Died in Endgame.
Yeah, so what was the point of making a movie about her?
Well, I know it was supposed to be a long time ago, but it got delayed. Why still make the movie? We all know she's gonna live at the end. Not gonna die.
Yeah.
It only serves to set up. Oh, like yeah, like a movie just to set up one. It's such a bland form. Villain is horrid.
Really?
One of the worst.
The bullets.
No. As this Black Widow agent. So the only way you can. That is the best they could come up with.
That was it? He had
That's-
nothing else, just cologne.
He's just some fat old Russian dude.
That's like me, but if I wasn't a villain.
I got to see that in theaters. I don't want to. I'm never going to see.
You got to do a ranking on every Marvel movie because fun fact,
have
I've
some
only
problems.
seen I think Iron Man 1. That's it. Yeah. I've seen Endgame, Avengers Assemble. I don't know what's the before Endgame. Infinity War.
It's okay if you haven't seen that because I also have not seen all. I have yet to see Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange 2 just came out this week.
You know how one thing
Also,
I've seen No Way Home. The one part about that movie that I didn't like was how they did Venom. They did Venom really dirty. I love Venom as like a character in both comics and everything, but like it made no sense how because they're obviously Venom's gonna be in the next Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
yeah, because Venom movie that
Well, no, remember that's what happened when he swapped there, and then he came there. All he did was drink, and then he left. But then a symbiote was left. I didn't get that because like why would
which character are they using them? Because there's multiple in the comics. Multiple characters have been created through the Venom suit. Carnage. Carnage was created.
Riot.
Why would you do? Riot's already been done too.
Yep.
So what villain are you gonna go to? Are you just gonna make another?
Or it's gonna try and introduce Venom Spider-Man again.
Yeah, but also that leads into Venom origin.
Yep.
That'd be so dumb.
It would be.
I felt like they just.
They should have had Venom help with the fight. That would have been wicked. I would have loved to see that if they somehow added him into that. But all Eddie Brock did was just drink the entire time he was there, disappeared, and that was it. I mean, obviously that's Eddie Brock. That's what the only thing he probably would do. But like, they had so much.
I'm also not the big. Like, good. I will preface. Not a bad Spider-Man. Very good. Tobey Maguire is just better than
Who?
Tom Holland.
As Spider-Man or
Yeah.
Peter Parker?
Both.
Really?
I think Tom Holland is overrated as both. I don't think he does either the best.
I love Andrew
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield's Spider-Man. People hated how mean he. That is the most comic accurate version of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a jerk. Like when Peter Parker puts on the suit, he's not a very nice guy to criminals. Not supposed to be.
No.
Like he is supposed to be a little cocky. So I did like his Spider-Man. I love Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. He's a nerd. awkward. That's the point. Then when he puts the suit on, it's all different. Tom Holland, I think.
You know, with that being said, I kind of agree with you now.
Yeah,
I agree with me too.
Look, good. He's perfectly fine. Better than Tobey.
I get that, but like, and also how they did Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man: No Way Home, where he kind of saved what's his name, the Goblin, from being killed. I thought it was really smart how they did that because I knew Tom Holland, like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's really cool how they made a personality. What was it? What's the word they go through? Personality changes, or like as like a show goes on. Character development. Yeah, that's the word. Character development went through Tom Holland Spider-Man. That's something you don't really see too.
Well, yeah, especially
At least good.
Because I feel like in the Marvel movies, plus movies, they all have like the same form. Like, make it different. Reason why Iron Man 3 does so many things. Tony is without the Iron. A lot of the doesn't work. It only happens at the end. And
Why was that?
Also the end.
Why was that? Why they didn't
Because
work?
they all got destroyed.
Oh.
So it's such a cool idea. Plus, the bait and switch with the villain is something they've never really done before. I thought it was perfect. I don't know. I really like Iron Man 3. Well, there's a big divide. It is probably the most. I know people who say it is one of the MCU. I love Iron Man 3. Loved it since I first saw it. I also really loved the first.
Yeah, I watched that one. That was really good. I loved it.
That
That was character development.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I feel
Kind of.
Iron Man, I think, has gotten the most character development. He's like the best example of like Marvel actually right. Tony's a jerk in the first.
Yeah, and I feel like with how they did Homecoming Spider-Man, they really showed how much Tony is actually like a bad guy to like natural workers because he puts people out of like business.
Yeah, also that's the thing about Spider-Man. They approached the idea of like, what happens to the people down below?
Yeah,
who don't have the powers? What happens to them? It's also been explored in the comics. I thought Vulture was the best part of Homecoming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. I love.
He had a perfect reasoning.
I loved Michael Keaton's performance as Vulture.
Oh yeah,
he was a very sympathetic villain. He might honestly be my favorite live action Spider-Man. That good.
I agree with that.
I also love Doc Ock in the second Spider-Man movie. Great. Goblin, first Spider-Man. Good.
Mysterio, I liked with how much of just an a-hole he was.
I like the plot twist. I actually know. I like the plot about how like, oh, he's using devices. It's not the same bait and switch as Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3, you're led to believe that this guy's the villain. But, oh no, it's actually this guy's just an actor. Literally, he was. Yeah, in Spider-Man Far From Home, I do like the idea of like Mysterio is just a dude with money. Mm-hmm. That just makes sense.
And then he's just like, "Oh hey, Stark's glasses."
Yeah, like that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
Sometimes Marvel makes really good decisions. Sometimes it's just very bland.
Agreed.
That's how I view Marvel. Same thing with the. I'm just not the. That's just.
I feel like DC did better comics.
DC, I think, far and away does the best.
Better comics, better probably shows. Maybe like that's debatable, but Marvel does better movies.
Overall, we're gonna take into account Dark Knight and nearly every Batman movie ever made.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple. Batman's spanking the whole
MCU. Suicide Squad.
Yes. Squad wasn't interesting. But the Suicide Squad, that was a good.
The one with Yeah, that one was good.
That was.
You know what that is? That's your mom.
That was hilarious. I loved that. So happy. He actually figured out what to do with the Suicide. Like DC's been on a roll lately. They've been making lately. Good to see because the beginning of the DC was a little rough. to say the least, it was a little inconsistent. Batman Justice League was one of the worst superheroes. Original.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, I actually do really like. Wonder Woman was slightly overrated, but Birds of Prey wasn't that bad. Suicide Squad, really interesting.
What's your what's the word? What was it? What's your thought on what was it? Peacemaker.
I have not watched Peacemaker. I want you.
I feel like it's
I have a friend who's telling me it's super.
really. I was getting like thoughts that it was bad, but that might be just hearing.
I haven't seen it. I am planning on watching it though once I. But
Of course.
I haven't seen it. I don't have a comment. It was good in the movie. Funny in the movie. So good. You know,
Oh, Aquaman screws fishes.
Aquaman movie. Amber Heard in it.
I hope she is not in it. That's a topic for another day because we already know dang well there's going to be a lot of conversation
We
about.
have a lot of opinions on the Johnny Depp versus Amber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like how Parker's on Amber Heard's side. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Calm down. But yeah,
We still got like.
I have to be heading out soon because Delaney's been waiting out. Side,
Yeah,
but-
so I can end it early.
yeah. However, I hope she does get jail time for a long time. But her lawyer, have you seen videos of her lawyer? I know he like says objection hearsay so much. It was funny because he asked a question to one of the witnesses, and it was talking about how Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, cut off the tip of his finger. And when the doctor was like, "Yeah, he sustained injuries on one of his fingertips," the, the lawyer tried to object his own question, which you can't do because like if you ask a question that screws over your defendant, yeah, yeah, it was so funny because you could just see Johnny Depp and his lawyer just start trying not to laugh in the other corner. Because, like, thanks for showing more evidence to how Amber Heard was a terrible person and is a terrible person.
But like I said,
Well, like he said,
that's a topic for a different.
that is a topic for a different day. And as he's moving that mouse ever so closely to the end stream button, circling around it, that's going to be the end of the Foscottweman Report today. And if you hold on, moment of silence for me. If you sneeze during this podcast, God bless you. And something about twitch.tv/ Flying Fortress 666. And with all that said, that's going to be the end of Post